I've never wanted anyone to say, that damn Wes, he tricked me, he pressured me, he used NLP, he used hypnosis, he threatened me with his jujitsu, so I gave him money, and now I'm screwed because I have this software. Like that, nobody has ever said that about me.
How do you get people to make a decision in the days of not too little information, but now with too much information? Wes Schaefer is going to show you how.
Launch it. Get after it, man. 1 year goals are fine. 100-year goals. But what are you going to do the next 15 minutes? What are you going to do this quarter? Don't tell me what the end of 2025 is going to be. How's the end of January going to be?
You got to start by getting into the mind of the prospect. Wes Schaefer. So Wes, tell me your definition of success. How do you see it?
Doing what you want when you want it.
How did you come to that, though? Is that like, because I don't know, as a young man, my definition shifted as I got older and had kids and built businesses and stuff. Where did yours come from?
Sure. I mean, growing up, when I was young, we had money. When I was older but young, we didn't have money. And so you tend to kind of define things or set goals based on what you lack. And, you don't appreciate, the old acres of diamonds, right? You're sitting on top of so many good things, but it's that I shared it yesterday in our HOA group because we got some negative Nancy's, and two guys are on a bus and one's looking at the wall, the rock wall. The other one's looking out in the valley. And so it's like, where are you looking? Right. And so, 29 years of marriage, 7 kids, 4th grandkid on the way. It's like, okay. I mean, how I define success differs. All the kids live close. The farthest is in San Francisco, and he pops down regularly, a 90-minute flight. Everyone else is within an hour of us. And the married kids with kids are 10 minutes away. So, we have dinner every Sunday night at a minimum with them, but, we watch the grandkids multiple times a week. My mother-in-law's been sick, and, my oldest daughter came over last night, brought the grandkids, cooked dinner for all of us.
Are there any milestones where that shifted, where the definition shifted for you?
I don't know that it was any big, earthquake kind of moment. It's just, I had a tumultuous W-2 career.
Most entrepreneurial people did.
Well, I mean, it wasn't of my doing. I caved to family pressure when I got out of the Air Force, made a decision I should not have based on that. That went sideways. It was not of my doing. I jumped into the fire and did great at another company that decided to go bankrupt a year and a half after I joined. Okay, I was like number 26 out of 2,200 salespeople in my first year. Was promoted to general manager, and the company started to fail. I got into high tech at in 2000. Right, the dot-com implosion. Dude, wherever I go, short that stock, okay? Because it's cratering. So it bounced around in high tech. I would do well. I was laid off. And I was over quota. I was one of 3 people out of 33 salespeople that was over quota, 3, and they laid me off. So I was like, well, hell, if it's this chaotic as an employee, it can't be any worse working for myself, So, so in the early days, just grinding it out and like, I got to make money. And then, and the funny thing is, like, I'm simple, man. My wife pays the bills. Like, I don't need much, and so we've got some investments and some things are working. And it's like, okay, I don't have a private jet, but I train jujitsu for 2 hours a day, 6 days a week, and block off my calendar and say no to a lot of people. So it feels pretty good.
It's interesting how success, and I want to go back to your experience because I think it's really important people understand that the jump into your own business is never as bad as what people seem to think it is. how do you, when you're talking to someone about that, how do you help them understand the distinctions that you found over your career of moving across and taking charge? Because now you're crushing it at the other end, but there's that step that a lot of people are like, should I, shouldn't I, can I, will I?
Well, I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. It can be hard. Okay. It was hard. I'm coming up on 700 interviews on the sales podcast, and you've been on a couple times. I speak with a lot of entrepreneurs that did their own thing. And the common thread was everyone either built up a nest egg, right? So they had some runway, they prepared kind of on the side. They jumped into something that they either had experience in, okay? I just had a friend of mine, Nicole Lucas, on my podcast. She's been in insurance sales for 23 years. And when she went out on her own, she was nervous, and she switched from personal to commercial, but she's killing it. She didn't jump out of insurance and become, a hang glider pilot, right? Now, if she had done that on the side for a hobby, okay. So you have to make sure. I tell people all the time, it's not the end of the world to be an employee. Okay, one of my best friends, an early sales mentor, has never been on his own, and he is literally the number one salesman at a major, like a Fortune 50 software company. Okay, he's killing it. I could never do that. I can maybe go back in time and do it now. I was never patient enough when things are dumb and inefficient, and it's like, you want me to update Salesforce.com and create an Excel spreadsheet and send it to you as a PDF? No. Kiss my ass. I would rather sell solar door to door, sell vacuum cleaners than do stupid stuff. So that's just me, right? So, but if you have a plan, I had a sales coach, a sales mentor. I became a licensee of his. So I had intellectual property. I had a process that I could follow, but it was on my own terms. And so that made the transition much easier for me.
Yeah, and I think that, we definitely agree. It's hard work to go into business for yourself, but if you do it the right way, and let's talk, we're going to get into sales and marketing in a minute, and if you follow a lot of the advice that Wes will give you, then holy heck, it can be easier than a lot of people make it, and that's for sure. I just want to ask though, do you have like a ingredients list for success or a formula for success that if you do these 5 things, or these 5 things are always present, or however many things are always present when someone is successful?
Well, are we talking about like sales success?
Yeah, we can talk sales success. Let's dive into that, because I think that's an easy one for us to give definition to.
Well, I mean, I just want to make sure I answer it from the right angle, right? Because how we define success, it varies for everybody, right? But I mean, we're talking business and consulting and whatnot, right? So most people, when they start out, if we're talking about entrepreneurs and smaller businesses, most people undervalue their skills, right? There's a real thing called the curse of knowledge. When you do something a lot for a long time, you think it's common knowledge. That's nothing. So don't price your services on the effort it takes you, right? Because like I just had surgery, a couple months ago. It took the surgeon 15 minutes to do what would take me 12 to 15 years to learn how to do if I started today. Okay? So you have to price your services on the value it provides. How do you know the value it provides? You have to ask. Okay? But it's not easy to ask that question. Prospects will play those cards close to the vest because they've been screwed over by greedy commission breath salespeople. And so they're like, well, just send us a proposal. And so they turn into quote monkeys, spraying and praying, hoping they price it right. So you have to understand the value you bring. You have to understand how to get the prospect to quantify their pain. Okay? And until they do that, any proposal you give them is it's a pipe dream, it's a wish, it's a wing and a prayer. And by personality types, you can look at DISC or Myers-Briggs or whatever, and there's all kind of good ones. But in general, if you follow roughly the DISC, the Myers-Briggs, we all fall into about four camps. And so naturally, we're going to get along with about a quarter of the population without even trying. So those are the easier sales. So now you have to look at the others, because to succeed in sales, I have to match how you buy. I have to adjust my sales process to match how you buy if I really want to grow sales. Otherwise, I'll just naturally close a certain percentage, and I need to be happy with that. So, but if I can understand people, I'm just hammering the old quote from Robert Collier. It's about 100 years old, that we must enter the conversation going on in the mind of the prospect. So are we seeking to serve? Because sometimes the answer is no. Like I've sold software for a long time for small businesses, and I tell more people no than yes, because they'll come to me saying they want Infusion software, they want Keep or HubSpot or Salesforce, and I'm like, no, you're not ready. You're not ready. Or I'll say, what do you have now? I have Salesforce. I want to switch to HubSpot. Okay, I make more money if you switch to HubSpot. But I'm like, why do you want to switch? You probably don't utilize what you currently have. Okay, and so 9 times out of 10, it's better to stay where you are and optimize the tools you have than make the switch. And so, but I've just always been that way. I've never wanted anyone to say, that damn Wes, he tricked me, he pressured me, he used NLP, he used hypnosis, he threatened me with his jujitsu, so I gave him money, and now I'm screwed because I have this software. And like that, nobody has ever said that about me.
Let's go back to that pain point thing, because I think there's nowhere near enough digging into the pain of people. There's way too much celebrating what the benefits of the thing is. Take me more into your thoughts on that, because I love some of the perspectives I've read of yours and listened to of yours over the years.
Men are bad at this, especially because we want to just solve problems. If you've been married more than a minute, your wife has come in frustrated and started out with, I don't need you to solve this. I just got to vent. And again, the curse of knowledge, we want to jump in and fix it. As soon as we hear something, hey, I have a headache, I've got aspirin. Hey, I've got brain surgery. Maybe I'm just dehydrated. I need a glass of water. So we have to be better at listening and diagnosing, but we have to be comfortable being in the presence of uncomfortable people, and we have to be comfortable making them uncomfortable. Okay. And so, the surgery I had, right, was with a urologist. Hello, that's uncomfortable. And we weren't alone. There's a room full of people in there saying,
let's shave that thing, Wes.
Let's get to work. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And man, and I know this guy from church, right? And so I did not want to be that intimate with him. This was another day. This was him standing here like you and me. The nurse prepped everything. He walked in, and son, he grabbed me and went to work. I mean, literally not 30 seconds after he entered the room. Okay, it's a funny analogy, but it's 100% true. He was comfortable being in the presence of me being uncomfortable. He was comfortable making me uncomfortable because he had to do his job. Okay. So if you and I are talking, I'm like, Brad, what's going on? Hey, I need some software. Why do you need software? Most salespeople right there mess up. I've got software. I got blue software. I got red software. I got blinky software. I got remote software. Like, bro, slow your roll. Right? So it's like, why do you need software? What kind of software? I need a CRM. Why do you need a CRM? What are you doing right now? Are you switching from something, or is it total chaos and you need to create systems? Yeah, I'm switching from something. How long have you had it? Why is it an issue? Who else besides you cares? So, and I'm rapid firing this just to be concise here and quick, but the reality is this may be a long drawn out process. You've got to be comfortable. If you feel like I'm interrogating you, you're going to back off. Okay, but it's very conversational. Why is that an issue? What's going on? Tell me about the size of your company. In round numbers, how is this impacting your bottom line? Well, I'm not comfortable answering that. Well, I can't really make a recommendation. I mean, if you want some broad numbers, $50 a month, $50,000 a month, is that good enough? If you can answer a few questions, I can narrow this down for you, and we can get pretty precise. So you've got to be willing to, because once you strike a nerve, once they feel open with you, you can't get them off the phone, and then it's like, okay, I see what's going on here. Now, so if you tell me, you've got a 50-person team and your 20 efficiencies are 20% off because of this, that, and the other, you're doing $10 million and, 20%, okay, that's $2 million, so I'm like, man, if I can, for $50,000, for $100,000, software plus services, get it set up, train your team, blah, 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 it takes 6 months, if it costs you $100,000 to solve a $2 million pain, any reason you wouldn't move forward with that? Not at all. Okay, easy peasy.
I've had to teach my people to slow down sometimes, because even like a couple of days from when you get the prospect to fill in the questionnaire type thing, and they fill in the questionnaire and go, well, I don't even know the answer to some of these questions. Right. It's like, good, let them sit with that for 48 hours. Let them live in the pain. How do you teach people to slow down a little on that and get to sit in the pain, I guess?
I mean, it's a cultural thing, right? It's a training thing. If salespeople feel under the gun, they're going to make sloppy decisions. Okay, so you have to, and that comes down to recruiting, right? It comes down to systems and processes. What do you give your people? Because from the sales standpoint, you've got to, I always say you manage activity and you pay on results. So are you giving the people, your sales teams, the right activity? Because closing sales is a lagging indicator, just like weight loss. It's the beginning of the year. Hey, I'm going to lose 30 pounds in 90 days. Well, everything matters. Do you drink black coffee or do you put cream and sugar in it? That adds up over 90 days. Okay, it's a lagging indicator. You look back and say, did I do the right things? Because I can't force someone to buy from me. If I'm doing the right activities every single day, every 15-minute interval of every single day, the opportunities are going to be coming in. And when I have a big, fat, full pipeline, I can almost have I don't give a crap attitude. And there's a fine line between being cocky and arrogant and being just laid back. Like, hey man, it's okay if you don't buy from me today. It's okay. So how do you instill that in your people, right? It comes from the top, right? You gotta help them be comfortable, but you gotta kind of lord it over them. Like, here's what I expect you to do every day. And I'm not Big Brother, but I am the boss. If you're hitting your numbers, you can do whatever you want. You can go golfing, whatever. I don't care. If you're not hitting your numbers, you got to do this. And chances are, if you don't do this, you won't hit your numbers. So good luck.
Yeah, I do that. I've got marketers on the team, and they're lead generators essentially. And if they're working 1 hour a day and producing the 10 leads a day that they need to produce, good for them. If they're working 8 hours a day and still only getting 5 leads, bad for them. That's the thing. Well, I want to talk more about the marketing leading into sales today, because I think there's been some stuff that you've taught, and I love the way that even since COVID, how there's more and more focus on marketing. And HubSpot, we use HubSpot. We love the fact that it scores our prospects, but it gives them a lot more education along the way to the buying process. Take me through how you see that shift and how it's been made over the last few years and even before COVID, I guess it started.
Yeah, the internet and then social media, I think, are the biggest things that shifted how sales happen. Because like before the internet, we didn't have the info, right? The salesperson was the keeper of the knowledge. If you wanted to buy a car, you had to go in and you had to haggle and endure. Well, now you can download a Carfax, you can get the MSRP, you can haggle online. So now the salesperson, our role is much more of reassuring the prospect that they're making the right choice. Because before they had lack of information and couldn't make a decision. Now they have too much information and they can't make a decision.
Yeah. Hadn't thought of it that way.
We have to help them sort, sift, and separate, right? And so marketing, it's such a fractured world, right? It's so noisy and chaotic. I've got a thing I call process before login, and I make people get off the computer and write on a piece of paper or put it on a whiteboard. We use the big sticky notes, the huge ones, and we'll write them out and stick them on the wall when we do the processes. And it's like, just think through, what do you want to have happen? And then let's go searching for those kind of tools. So in marketing, again, we must enter the conversation going on in the mind of the prospect. Everybody's got multiple screens, multiple tabs, multiple devices. WhatsApp is pinging, Telegram, Discord, speaker, whatever on Twitter now, Facebook, emails, things are piling up on our desk. And now we see an ad or we get a call. Okay, I like that thing. Boom. I tell people all the time, you better be following up because I don't even read the things I want to read on time.
Yeah.
So you send me a one-off message like, interesting, yes, and it's gone. You better follow up, so, and I've always told people this, they try to get too cute, too in-depth, too profound with some marketing, but it needs to be like courting. It's the congruency and consistently showing up. You remember Back to the Future when, he goes back, he's got his dad, he's got to get them to go on a first date, and he gives them a script. And he looks at her, he says, "You are my density." And he looks back at his card, destiny, you are my destiny, right? He delivered it incorrectly, but he delivered it sincerely. And because he kept showing up, he won her over. So maybe send shorter nuggets of information, but do it more often. Send it as an email, send it as an audio file, send it as a GIF, send it as a video they can watch, mail them something, but that consistency and congruency, it's gotta, you can't be Neiman Marcus one day and Walmart the next. It confuses the prospect. Like, well, who is this guy? What's really going on here? And a confused mind says no. So be consistent, but be steady, right? Congruent, always kind of the same look and feel, the same warm and fuzzy, and you'll win them over.
Yeah. I want to go back into that too much info thing. How do salespeople today help people make decisions given the fact that there is just so much noise out there?
It goes back to asking the questions. It's like, how do people show up? So we have to adjust how we sell to match how they buy. When my wife goes shopping, God bless her, she still writes everything down in a notebook. Okay? She'll have all these tabs open, but she's writing. So when she shows up at your store, she's referencing this big notebook. Okay? So right off the bat, I recognize. Now, there are still some dummies, I'll just put it mildly, that would look down on her, talk down to her. You're a woman. This is a big purchase. You don't really know. Look, set that aside. Let me show you what's really going on. Well, I'm just going to sit back behind one of those police shields because she's about to rip your head off. Okay? So when they show up like that, say, I can see you've done some research. What have you found? What questions are still unanswered? Oh, I've got them answered. I'm just deciding between you and them. Fantastic. May I ask you, what are your top 3 non-negotiable criteria that will help you realize that you're making the right decision? Wow, never really thought of that. That's when you know you're on the right track. Your goal is to ask a question that they cannot answer. That's how you prove your competency. Okay, because if I just start rattling off, and I ask this question all the time when I do live training in a group, and there's women there, ideally, hopefully, because women go to doctors. Men don't go to doctors. If I'd have gone to a doctor a year ago, I could have alleviated a whole lot of pain in the last 3 months, but I digress. Women go to a doctor, and I'll say, hey, who's had the same doctor for 10 or more years? And several hands will go up, so I'll pick one. I'll say, do you know where your doctor went to school? 1 out of 10 will say, oh, I think they went to, UCLA, whatever. Okay. Do you know where did they go to medical school? Well, I don't know. Where'd they do their residency? I don't know. What brand of, mammogram x-ray equipment do they use? I have no idea. Yet you've gone to this doctor for 10, 15, 20 years. You don't know where they went to school. Do they use GE? Do they use whatever? Why do you trust them? They're like, they just treat me right. They spend time with me. We get to know each other. They know me. They know my history. Oh, okay. So then it kind of hits home. They're like, I don't need to rattle all this stuff off to most people. I just have to get them thinking about something. I got to bring something up they haven't considered. That's how they know I'm the expert, because I know enough to dig in to where they haven't even gone. And then hopefully I have an answer, right? I train all of my clients, I push them as much as I can to write every day. Look at the questions that you get. Look at Reddit or Quora. See what questions are being asked and write them out. Ideally, you publish them as a blog, make a podcast out of it, send it as a newsletter. But, I'm literally updating my website right now, and 1,200 blog posts. So that I've personally written over the years. So when somebody says, how about this? Not only do I have an answer, I've already created the answer. Usually it's a blog and a video, maybe an infographic, and I just send them. They're like, oh, holy crap.
Yeah. Yeah, a salesperson shouldn't have to answer. They should have a written answer, and the marketing team's job is to provide those answers. But how does the marketing team get the answers? They interview the salespeople, or the engineers, or. But I think that's a big part of it. When you think of that whole process now, we bring people to decision making today, and it's a lot easier, but it's a lot harder to get them to that decision today. What are the things that today are really working to get people to actually finally make the decision, sign on the dotted line? How are we actually, I hate the word closing, but how are we making the sale today, and how's that different to what it was?
I think COVID and all these crazy elections have had people worried. I think there's some clarity now, at least like the stock market. The stock market, people can show the numbers. It's up or down, Democrats, Republicans, whatever, but investors just don't like uncertainty. Once they know which direction things are going, like, okay, we can figure it out from here. So I think things will get a little bit better in 2025. But COVID changed a lot of things. I don't know if I'm jaded or old or just super intellectual. I'm gonna go with the smart one, okay? But like I've always been, I spent time in the Air Force. I've never trusted the government, right? So I've always been a little leery. So when crazy things start happening, I'm like, I told you, but anyway, I digress. So I think people are waking up to like, this is the new normal, which I hated during COVID. But here's what I'm telling everybody. Oh, I zig when the market zags. Okay. So the zag right now is AI. Everybody, all the gurus are out there saying, buy my course, come to my masterclass, come to my retreat. We're going to show you in 5 minutes how to create 5 years worth of content for just $5,555. So 15 years ago, remote VAs, overseas VAs were all the rage. So you would have a VA write an email, then I would have a VA read the email and delete it. Okay. Now you're paying AI to write the emails, and I'm paying AI to read it, sort, sift, and separate, and delete it. So the zig today to the zag is to be human. Show how you're different. If you cannot send emails, you cannot send fake videos that look and sound like your competition. And that has always been the case. Look at what your competition does and do the opposite. Okay, so be more human. That will help cut through the clutter. Put in, write the way that you speak. And I understand, like a good friend of mine is an attorney. He's a great attorney. He can't send a GIF of a talking ferret. Okay? He's probably going to lose that $100 million workers' comp case. Okay? But I can. You can. You got pulling profits out of a hat. And you're the owner. You can have some fun. Hey, I've been trying to reach you. You can have some fun with things. But put some life into it. But once you get to know Kevin, right? He's an Irishman from Chicago. I mean, he is ball busting. Okay, once you know him, he will send the ferret. He will, drop some F-bombs because that's his reality. But again, you have to match. All that being said, right? You have to match how the prospect wants to buy. There's an attorney. Oh, I'm drawing a blank on his name now. But he's in Austin. I used to live in Austin. My mom still lives there, and he has billboards right by the airport, and it's the attorney that rocks. He is a white dude with dreadlocks, playing the guitar. He's killing it. He's not apologizing for who he. So go back to the beginning. What do you define success? He lives the way, he does what he wants to do when he wants to do it. He's like, I'm showing up in dreadlocks and a t-shirt, and I'm going to sue the pants off the people. I'm going to get you a lot of money, and then I'll be at the bar tonight jamming. That dude, that's success.
Well, hey there, and thanks for listening. I've noticed that 78% of you are brand new, which means you haven't hit the subscribe button yet. By subscribing, you help us bring on even better guests, better quality content, and serve you better with even more podcasts. So please hit that subscribe button. It only takes a second. It makes a huge difference. If you support us, we're going to support your success and help you achieve big success together. Yeah, I think the personal branding stuff today, companies need to understand that it's person to person so much today. Any thoughts then on that personal branding side of it? Because I think every salesperson has to, every company has to have personal branding. What are you seeing as the great things that are happening right now?
I think it's still, you've got to be yourself. If you don't play the guitar, and if your wife doesn't like you in dreadlocks, then I'm not growing out dreadlocks and making those kind of ads. Okay? So, but again, the zig to the zag. I know a very successful marketer. He had a big agency, sold it. Now he helps agency owners. He moved to Colorado. Jason Swink. Great dude. I saw him just a couple months ago in Phoenix at an Infusionsoft event, a Keep event. And he makes very personable ads, but he's got a beard. He's got a ball cap. He's wearing his flannel because that's him. He lives in the mountains and he does great stuff. That's his brand. Okay? But he's going after agency owners that want to live that lifestyle, that want to control the chaos. Okay? Your ads would probably be a little bit different, but still you can get away with casual because that is your style. Okay? So you just have to be consistent and congruent. You've got to be, authentic is overused, but overly polished BS has not been good for a good 25 years, right? Look at television. The most popular genre, is reality TV, but even reality TV now sucks because it's not truly reality. It's too scripted, and there's all these Instagram reels and stuff. These people, oh, we're just a married couple, just showing you life, the day in their life up. But it's all scripted and made up. And it's like, next. Show me something truly authentic, something natural, something, out in the wild, So, man, just, enter the conversation going on in the mind of the prospect. Do your prospects want a 3-piece suit, Rolex wearing, slicked hair, stare him in the eye, tough negotiating guy? Do they want a laid-back person? Do they want a fitness person? So just
different prospects
just
different prospects for every offer too. That's the great thing about the marketplace.
Yes, just get in alignment with that.
Love it. Wes, always finish out with one question, and that is, what's the best advice you ever got, or even the best quote you ever came across on the subject of success and being successful?
There's a guy down in Austin. I love talking about Roy Williams, the Wizard of Ads. He's got so many, but one, pops into mind is pull the trigger and ride the bullet. It's, I think Facebook talks about, be bold and break things, be bold, move fast, break things. So it's that kind of concept. Too many people plan for too long and never launch. They die with the song still in them. One of the hardest but most beneficial things I learned being on my own was to sell it first, then build it. And people are like, oh, that's manipulative. I'm like, shut up.
Dude, back in the day, marketing-wise, when I was using mail pieces, I would send out 1,000 mailers, and if I got 10 sales, then I'd go create the program and send the other 100,000 mail pieces. It's like,
yeah. And what I tell people, look, when Apple came out with the iPhone, they announced it, I think, in February of 2007. It wasn't available until September of 2007. They wanted to, confound the market. They wanted to muddy the waters. They wanted to slow down, and everybody waited for it. Now, obviously, you can tell people, hey, this is beta. Hey, we're considering this. For me, it's like if I'm going to teach a course or something, create a 3-week series, a private group or something, it's literally, I just 10 minutes, maybe an hour, build a landing page, connect it to HubSpot, take the credit card and go. So, but too many people, they spend too much time, and I see them, oh, I'm going to trademark this. I'm going to get a patent on it. I'm like, well, good luck with that. Because people will steal your stuff. So are you ready, willing, and able to fight when they do steal? Like, people hit me up with an NDA. I'm like, that's a weird way to start a relationship. Yeah, I'll sign it, like whatever. But if I want to steal your stuff, I'll steal it. Do you have the money and the resolve to come after me if I steal your stuff? Like, let's go make money.
Yeah, let's work together and do it the right way.
Yeah, we'll figure it out, But if you think I'm going to steal your idea, why are you calling me in the first place? And I understand, but the point is, it's like, launch it. Stop. I had Brian Moran on the podcast years ago. I read his book, The 12-Week Year. And just the idea of compressing time frames. It's like, get after it, man. 1-year goals are fine. 100-year goals, knock yourself out, Mao Zedong. But what are you going to do the next 15 minutes? What are you going to do this quarter? Don't tell me what the end of 2025 is going to be. How's the end of January going to be? Because if you coast for too long, you eventually get to the point you're like, what's the use? Like, I saw somebody made a post that my year starting in February, I still got some residual from last year. I got to knock out in January. It's like, pull the trigger and ride the bullet. Get after it.
Love it. You're on the Big Success Podcast. Wes Schaefer. Hit the show notes, follow, learn, study, read, do all the things so that you keep coming back for more of your success.
You've been listening to the Big Success Podcast with the #1 business coach in the world, Brad Sugars. To learn more about how to achieve business and personal success, as well as how to level up or listen to past episodes, Visit www.bradsugars.com.